Hey guys, so here we are, the final week of the Revelation series. And I want to highlight what many people think is a primary focal point of the book of Revelation. And it's something that, as I'm giving the message on Sunday, I don't even cover, right? And it is in Revelation chapter 20. There is a series of verses that describe this 1,000 years, right? We'll briefly touch on that. I'm not actually explaining it much. But it's 1,000 years where Jesus and people who have been raised from the dead reign together on the earth, and where Satan is bound in prison during that time. And this is, this has been something that theological constructs have been built around these few verses, right, in the book of Revelation. And I just want to highlight a couple of things because it has become like there are people in different camps on this idea about when that 1,000 years happens. Is it before Jesus returns? Is it after Jesus returns? Is it a literal 1,000 years? And so what I want you guys to understand is that 1,000-year reign that is described. This is the only place in the Bible that is mentioned. It is, there are so many things built around this, and yet it happens to be something that is mentioned right here. The only other place in the New Testament where this idea of 1,000 years is mentioned is in the book of 2 Peter, where he mentions that 1,000 years is as a day, and a day is as 1,000 years to God, right? And so I just want you guys to realize, what I'm describing in the sermon is this idea of a triumphal procession. Now, if you look at the way this all plays out, that 1,000-year reign is all a part of the triumphal procession. And it's really meant to be more of a symbol than it is meant to be a literal thing. But I'm not going to pretend like I've got it all figured out. It makes sense in my head, okay? But everybody that takes a position on this 1,000-year reign, like they're using other scripture to describe it, it all makes sense in their head. What I want to come back to is something Brandon said in the first sermon of this series, when he was talking about the idea that he and I disagree about who the author of the book of Revelation is, and yet we still feel like we're on the same team. Like, we disagree, and yet it really doesn't affect the way either one of us reads the book of Revelation. I want you guys to understand that Christians for centuries have disagreed about this 1,000-year reign. And if we get so cornered into a view on this 1,000-year reign that we cannot continue to team up with people who view it differently, we've missed it, okay? And that's for so many different things in the Bible. But we can disagree on some things and still be on the same team. And I really want to emphasize this with you guys. Now, there are some things we got to agree on, right? And that's why when you look at our list of core beliefs, it's a shorter list. We don't have this lengthy list where if you don't fit this mold, you don't fit. We tried to really look at, okay, what does it mean to be a Christian? What do we need to agree on? And I would encourage you guys, let's make sure other people that agree with us on those things we see as on the same team. Because in the end, we're all going to be together in what Revelation 22 describes. We're all going to be seeing the same thing. There will be people from every tribe, every tongue, every nation under heaven. And guys, there are going to be people that we disagreed with on earth in heaven with us, spending eternity worshiping God. And so let's keep our eyes on the big picture when it comes to things like the 1,000-year reign and other things that so many people get sideways about, okay? I wanted to offer that encouragement. I'm not trying to ignore that passage of scripture, but at the end of the day, if it's going to become divisive, there's really not a whole lot of point in me saying, here's my stance and you need to agree with me. So I wanted to offer that to you guys as you dive into a discussion this week. And what I'd really like for you to do is discuss, what does it mean that we have an assurance of what will happen in the end? That God has already won the decisive battle through Jesus being crucified and raised from the dead, and everything else in between is really just Satan trying to distract us from God's kingdom. I want you to talk about that and how that impacts your lives on a daily basis. So that's all for this week, and really for the book of Revelation. I hope that this has been helpful for you guys, of these videos, just kind of looking at these different things, all the different lenses that we're looking through. It's not meant to be a deep dive. It's meant to be a big level overview that guides how we approach the book of Revelation. But I hope you've had some good discussions around it. So hope you guys have a good discussion this week.